Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Ceponis. I'm here to wrap things up tonight. I've heard so many great talks that I almost forget what I'm talking about. But I just finished up my master's in public health and started work just last week at the health department. But though it's a hot topic, I'm not here to talk about health. I'm going to talk about love. We'll start off. I'd like to ask you guys a question to get started, and that's, have you walked by someone homeless recently? Maybe you've seen a sign like this, looked past it. Maybe you've crossed the street when you've seen a panhandler, or move to the other lane on a road so you don't have to see someone holding out a cup for spare change. Baltimore has about 4,000 people experiencing homelessness in it, and we're a city that's only 80 square miles wide. That means, in theory, we've got about 50 homeless people per mile. That means you probably answered yes to one of my questions just now, maybe all three of them. And if you did, that's okay. I'm not here to accuse, and I would answer yes to that question too. But what I'm here to do is just kind of invite us into a conversation to think about maybe there's a better way to respond to this issue. Now, I want you to think about a hypothetical scenario this time. Imagine that you're at a restaurant with a couple friends, and someone comes up to your table, asks you for a salt shaker. Maybe you're looking down at your menu, maybe you're talking to a friend, maybe you look at your table and you don't even see a salt shaker on it. But what do you do to that stranger's question? Do you ignore it? Why do we treat homelessness differently? Why do we act as if we don't listen, there's nothing to hear? If we don't look, there's nothing to see. We've grown up in a world where we're kind of told that we shouldn't ignore anyone except people who are homeless. Now, I worked in homeless services for a couple years, and the hardest thing I heard, it wasn't about not having homes, or not having food, or not having money. It was about not having relationships. It was about not having connections. One of my favorite shelter residents, Willie, what he said to me, it's stuck with me ever since, is he said, you know what, Sarah? I just feel like I'm not even human. We also have seen, and people have touched on this earlier, that homeless folks are even being treated like criminals. There's criminalization going on everywhere in our city. You can't panhandle outside, you can't sleep outside, you can't store your belongings outside, you can get arrested for all that. We're trying to make things illegal so they become invisible. It's not fair. When I was little, I was known for shouting to my parents when my brothers were annoying me. That's not fair. My brother said I was just a tattletale, but I think I was maybe just a little fighter for justice really early on. And I'm up here tonight to carry that forward, to fight for justice again and shout, this isn't fair. So that's my big ask, my grand reveal. The reason I'm up here is to think about the next time that you walk by someone homeless, don't walk by. Stop for a second. Say hello. That's all it takes, is you and me doing this together. We don't need more money, more politics, more policy, more nonprofits. That's not what we need. We need us, a moment of our time, a moment of our kindness. My personal philosophy, and I think an easy way to think about it, is to just ask one question, like a little kid would, right? Just say, how are you today? Or, it's pretty hot, are you able to stay cool out here? Or maybe it can be a little more elaborate. I've seen you around a bit, what's your name? Or sometimes I like to throw in something fun, like, do you think the Orioles are gonna win tonight? I think you guys are pretty creative. I think you can certainly come up with something of your own, and I have faith that you will. And I think you're gonna be amazed and overjoyed by the fact that it really only takes a word or two, a second or two, to remind someone that they're human. Now, we're all here in Baltimore City because it's home to us, right? And even for homeless people, Baltimore City is still home. I'd like you to invite you into making this home for more people, making people believe in themselves. You know, in a perfect world, I think that we would be able to eliminate homelessness. In a perfect Baltimore, the stigma about homelessness would be gone and homelessness itself would be totally gone. But I think we all need to be honest with ourselves. I need to be honest with myself. Homelessness isn't gonna end overnight. But what can happen overnight is the couple hundred of us here in this room, we can do something differently overnight. We can wake up tomorrow, each of us, on the way to work, on the way to school, on the way to the gym, maybe walking across the square in Fells Point, stopping at a red light on MLK. When we walk by someone homeless, let's not walk by. Let's stop a second, look someone in the eye, dig a little spare love out of our pockets, and then we'll be able to make a world of difference. Thank you, guys. Come on.